off your video. But thank you all. It's February 17th, and this is our freshman IB parent meeting. Really excited for you to be here so we can share some things that we try to be very intentional about communicating with our students and our parents. My son was a freshman at Atherton last year, right? And because I have kind of an intimate knowledge of what's happening with regards to the course offerings in the school, I'm aware, but it's so important for us to make sure that all parents are aware of thinking through the next 3 years of high school for our students and for our parents. How to best support our students and the important things for students and parents alike to be talking about and to be planning for over the next few years. The great thing about Atherton is we have a lot of opportunities for students to take a variety of courses. The challenging thing is exactly that. We have a lot of courses, and sometimes it's very important for you to think about the next 3 years of high school and how you want to order your classes so that you'll get everything you want and you have them in the right sequence, so that the courses that you want your senior year, you'll have the proper background to be prepared for them. So that's what this IB parent meeting is all about, to talk about all the courses, and then also to make sure you're aware of the requirements that it takes if you're interested in the IB diploma program. The diploma program has very strict regulations about it to earn the prestigious honor of the IB diploma candidacy. That doesn't mean that every student who takes an IB class needs to earn the IB diploma. We have IB certificates associated with individual classes, but the diploma program is something separate, special, and unique for students who are interested. And it really takes, freshman year is when you really need to be preparing for what your course sequences look over the next few years. So thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to turn it back over to our IB coordinator, Miss Beckley, and Miss Medley, who's with us, is our counselor who supports all our students, but she particularly supports our IB diploma candidates as well. And I know Miss Beckley and Miss Medley work very closely to make sure that we're properly advising and guiding and scheduling and supporting students through that process.
Real quick, Dr. Avery, this is Heather Caudiel. I've just heard from a couple other parents that still can't get in, and I sent them the links that you just sent me, and I had no issue.
Right, I'm working on that. The email that I forwarded this morning or this afternoon was forwarded from an email account, so the links went bad. So I'm responding to them as they're emailing me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you. Yes, I am Tessa Beckley. I'm an assistant principal, last names A through L, grades 10 through 12, and IB coordinator. I, for the past 3 years, have just learned IB, and I feel like I'm just in the depths with it right now and just have all the knowledge. But luckily, I'm able to share that with someone this year. Ms. Medley, if you wanted to introduce yourself before we move forward.
Hi, everybody. My name's Amy Medley, and I am a counselor at Atherton. I'm thrilled to be at Atherton, and Ms. Beckley and I have been in freshman classrooms for the last week meeting your students, and let me just say good job, parents, first of all, because your students are amazing. We had classroom meetings, and then we've done follow-up in individual meetings with students who had specific questions, and your kids are just amazing. I can't wait to get back in the building, meet them in person, and work with them. But if your student chooses the IB diploma path, I'll be their counselor for the next 4 years, and I look forward to working with them. And I want to thank our students who are upperclassmen who are here tonight too to help us with the meeting.
All right, and I wanted to start with just the difference in the IB pathways. So there's something called the IB diploma and then the IB certificate, and this is the question that we get the most. What are the differences there? An IB certificate candidate is any student that takes one or more classes. So if you just take IB English or an IB math class or IB film, you're an IB certificate candidate. And what that means is that At the end of that course, not the end of the year, because some of them are 2-year courses, but at the end of the course, the students take an exam. Throughout the course, they're taking an internal assessment, and then there's also an external assessment, the written exam at the end. And then July 6th rolls around and they get the score. After that, Atherton actually receives actual IB certificates that we mail home to kids. So they will get them while they're in college, or if they're juniors, we'll give them to them their senior year. We'll either mail them or hand them to them, but there is an actual certificate that they will receive. IB diploma candidates are students that take all 6 groups. So they take math, science, social studies, English, world language, and what I've kind of deemed this term an IB elective. It's either IB film or it's another class, psychology, chemistry. There's one more I'm missing, physics. It can be another class mixed in there as well. But they also take the extended essay, which is a 4,000-word essay that it's of their choosing. It's a topic that really relates to them, that they want to research a lot about, and they do it on their own time. They do have a mentor that they choose, a teacher in the building that they know will be good with that topic that they want to work with, and they work with them. They have multiple meetings and they guide them through the process. And we have some trainings that we go through with the teachers with. They also complete CAS, Creativity Activity Service. It's 150 hours, and that sounds like a lot, but it's over 18 months. What we do is we split it up into 50 creativity, 50 activity, and 50 service. One of those areas has to be a project. So it can't be an hour here, an hour there, an hour doing something different, but one of those areas has to be a cumulative beginning, middle, end to show growth and see some different aspects of what a project entails so they can really reflect. The activity can just be honestly getting out there and moving and, you know, making sure that you're physically active to keep yourself healthy. The creativity is using your mind in a different way. IB wants to see that you can't just do book work, because they know you can do that. They know you can get good grades and get good scores on tests, but they want to see that you are more well-rounded. There's also TOK, Theory of Knowledge. It's a 2-year course that's mandated for IB students, for IB diploma students. And it's a really cool class. It's philosophical, it's theoretical. They can really dive into some knowledge-based different. I've been in there before, and they just take one word from an advertisement and analyze the meaning. It's really cool. And some of the students can tell you about it in just a second. But those are some of the differences between the diploma and the certificate candidates. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, you don't want to hear me talk. You want to hear from some kids, right? So we have some awesome students that are giving up their Wednesday evening to come talk to you, tell you about their experience, what they're doing in class, and then we're going to field some questions. So what we're going to do is in the chat, you can go ahead while we're talking, while the students are talking, you can go ahead and post some questions, and Miss Medley and I are going to be watching the chat, and we're going to be monitoring the questions and making sure that they get answered, okay? So first up is Miss Lucy Champelli. If you could please unmute and tell us about your IB experience and who you are.
Hi, my name is Lucy Champelli. I'm a junior and I'm an IB diploma candidate. So I am taking higher level history and biology and English, and the rest of them are standard level for me. I don't know, but the IB experience has been interesting. It's a lot different than regular classes, but I've learned a lot. Like, I've learned how to think differently, which has been really interesting. And I've heard myself talk through some of my classes, and IB's changed me as a student. So yeah.
All right, Deja, if you could please unmute and tell us about your experience.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Deja. I am a junior. This is my first year taking IB. I take one class of IB English. It's an interesting experience. Like Lucy said, like I'm transitioning from honors classes to IB English. Difficult a little bit, but the work is challenging, but it's like it's worth it. Like how Lucy said, you start to think differently, and you're reading different works. Like we just finished reading Chekhov stories, and they're like really interesting to read and stuff. And that's all.
Thank you, Deja. Gavin?
So similarly to Lucy, I'm a junior and I'm currently taking higher level math, history, and English. And then of course the rest are standard level. But I guess IB really changed me because it had me really exploring different perspectives. Because my elementary and middle school education, I mean, I went to a private Catholic school. So, I mean, nothing against them, but a lot of the teachings there are very, I guess, topic focused. There's really only one thing that you really learn about. But I feel like IB has really helped me explore that specifically in classes like TOK and history, just because I'm very much a person who enjoys thought exercises and really thinking and writing. So just being able to explore that pathway has made IB extremely beneficial to me.
All right, Adriana?
Hi, I'm a senior and I'm a full IB diploma candidate. I take IB higher level math, biology, English, and history, and then the rest are standard level. And I took my extra elective last year, which was standard level chemistry, and this year I'm taking honors anatomy and physiology. And over the course of these 2 years, I think IB has definitely taught me to think universally and with a global perspective than I used to before, especially with TOK. You're taught how to like think through things and make sure you're correct and your bias is kind of not getting in the way of your ideas and your feelings.
Thank you, students. I love to hear from students because they're the ones that know, they're in the classes. We have a couple questions starting in the chat, so we're gonna start going through those. And as you guys are thinking of them, please throw them in there and we will address. This one's for Lucy. Could you please elaborate on how IB changed you as a student?
Yeah, so in years before, I was just in advanced classes with like a few AP classes, and things came pretty easily to me. Like I was like one of those students that didn't have to study that much, and I got pretty good grades. And like tests were just, memorizing some facts. But then as soon as I joined IB, like the way that I looked at learning completely changed, and like how it's kind of hard to describe, but like how I speak almost has changed. So looking at like IB English, we have a lot of Socratic seminars. So I've learned to like look at books from a different perspective than just like what I personally feel. So like we read Rothschild's Fiddle, which is a Russian translation. And originally I would just evaluate like one character, but now I'm looking at this story from like, what are they actually meaning by all of these different like words, and what could like the title mean? So, and like for biology, it's looking at cause and effect, not just this is what a cell does. It changes how you just look at different things and moving past your own perspective and looking from a global outlook.
Any of our diploma candidates, could you please talk about your service projects and what you've been doing with those?
Yeah, so when I first started mine, I wanted to do some, like I'm working with a partner and we wanted to do nursing homes and helping like boost their like happiness in the nursing homes, but that didn't work out. And then we were going to do fundraising for our local hospital, but then COVID hit, so you really couldn't do that anymore either. So now we're doing online Spanish tutoring because we realize that NTI, as hard as it is, and learning a new language is especially difficult. So we're doing online Spanish tutoring, and now we've also transitioned to all language tutoring for students who need help, and it also offers service opportunities for other kids who need service hours for other clubs.
Any other students, Lucy or Gavin, do you want to pipe in on anything you're doing? It's been a little bit difficult with COVID and being virtual for those, but I know some of our students have been doing anything. So if you guys want to.
I haven't started like looking more into like what I can do virtually, but I'm currently in, for the service aspect, I'm in the Louisville Youth Philanthropy Council, which has been really interesting over Zoom. And it's just learning how to like change our community through nonprofit organizations. So that's what I've been doing to continue service over like the virtual world. But yeah, that's about it. It's kind of hard.
I guess with continuing service in a virtual environment, I'm the president of Atherton's Y Club, and that's largely a service-based organization and club. So I have a lot of access to programs. I guess just with being in the IB program, you really get to explore yourself and your interests through that CAS project or those CAS projects. So just, I guess my recommendation for any freshman would be just take your time to figure that out, figure out your interests, and just sort of do whatever you think you are able to do. Don't just try to get service hours just because they're there.
All right, I think Miss Medley, this one might be for you. What is the class registration process for transitioning from freshman to sophomore year, particularly if NTI goes through the end of the semester and being able to enter the IB diploma program?
Great question. I know that that's probably a concern for a lot of people. Ms. Beckley and I have been in freshman classrooms already giving students preliminary scheduling information that has to do with levels of course rigor, so that students will understand what they should choose in preparing for IB and other pathways if they would like to do that moving into the sophomore year. Students will, in the next few weeks and early March, will be receiving some additional information. They'll get an updated scheduling booklet so that they can read course descriptions. And then counselors will return to classrooms to walk students through virtually the scheduling process. But your students have already received lots of information. And then Ms. Beckley and I have been meeting with students individually who have questions about exactly what course they might want to take, what path they might want to take to get them ready for IB, or if IB is something they just want to explore and learn more about. And we're happy to do that. Students can go to their freshman ILP Google Classroom, and there is a link to sign up for a meeting with Ms. Beckley and myself if they would like to have an individual meeting to talk about their options for next year. But specifically to get ready for IB, we've talked about that with the freshmen and which classes they should consider taking in the sophomore year, depending on whether or not they want to be full IB diploma or IB certificate, or if they want to do an academy pathway. So.
All right, so the next question is, why do IB as opposed to just AP classes? And are there any college credits for taking this path? So you do have the opportunity to earn college credits at the end of the IB course. Just like an AP course, you do take an exam at the end, and based on your exam and what the college or university offers for that exam score, you can get credit. IB also has the internal assessments at the during the year, as well as the exam at the end that accumulates to that total score as well. The differences between AP and IB: one, we do offer at Atherton more IB classes than AP. This is a little story I've shared in the freshman classes. A student a couple years ago came back from college and said this at one of our IB meetings. I think she said that anyway. I might butcher it just a little bit. But a difference between AP and IB coursework. In an AP class, if you are given a Lego set, and at the end of the course, you are supposed to be able to build that Lego set and it's perfect. You can do it. They teach you how to build that set and you can build it. But in an IB class, if they give you that Lego set and they're teaching you how to build it, you are learning what those Lego pieces are made from, why they're made from that, why they go where they are. You get more into the theory and more in depth. You are doing coursework outside of the course. You're doing your reading outside. You're bringing it in. and then you're discussing and doing Socratic seminars. But I do want to put this on some of the students to answer as well. What do you think? 'Cause I know some of you have taken AP and IB courses. So what do you think maybe some of the differences are, if you could help explain in your words?
So for me, I've taken, I think, yeah, I've taken 3 AP classes, and then I'm currently doing a whole bunch of IB classes. But the biggest difference to me is really the mindset that you're supposed to have. So like Miss Beckley was talking about, AP, it's really a lot of memorization. It's, can you remember this fact and can you translate that knowledge onto a test? But with IB, it's sort of really a deeper, more conceptual understanding. And I feel like our assessments really model that. Like for IB chemistry, which I'm currently taking, our end goal isn't to memorize a bunch of equations and then apply them to word problems. It's one of our biggest final products of it is a fully fleshed just research project. We write a paper, we do experiments. I mean, it's a little harder now in a virtual environment, but in general, it is a really beneficial experience that, which I was taking IB chemistry after taking advanced chemistry last year. And just the difference between an advanced course and an IB course was just insane. And from what I've heard from people who have taken AP chemistry, it's completely different. And I just, in my opinion, it's a more beneficial experience to take those IB courses.
We don't need them still yet. Awesome. Thank you, Gavin. All right. So the next question is, how does the IB diploma candidacy fit with students that are part of the Spanish Immersion program? It actually fits pretty well because of the IB Spanish that the students eventually get to. So we make sure that we can fit that in with their schedule, and we will work to make sure that it happens and it aligns. So there's ways for us to make sure that both Spanish Immersion and the IB diploma can merge together. Part of the next question too, that kind of flows right into it. Would it be reasonable or possible to be an IB diploma candidate and also take courses in one of the academies? The answer is yes. So that's why we're talking to freshmen. So that's why Ms. Medley and I have gone into freshman classrooms and really want to guide those students in the right direction. Because setting up your sophomore year schedule, if you want to be a pathway completer, an academy completer, and an IB diploma candidate, that sophomore year schedule is critical. So maybe double up on your sciences or double up on academies, depending on the student. So that's why we've been meeting with some students one-on-one that are in that path to make sure that your schedules are aligned. Ms. Medley, I don't know if you have anything to add to that or if that's good. Good, okay. Do you feel like IB classes are better suited for specific learning styles? Do any students want to jump in there?
Yeah, so a difficulty like I had throughout all of like freshman and sophomore year is tests and like just taking like multiple choice tests and like true and false. I'm so bad at that. I have like such bad test anxiety. I'm not that kind of learner. I'm not like a sit and take notes on my own kind of like learner. But when I got into IB, we don't take a lot of multiple choice tests. It's all discussions and presentations, like what you've learned and like what these different aspects are. We do have like a lot of lectures, but it's really involved. It's different from AP where you're just, here's a presentation and take notes on it and memorize these things. You're really involved with the material.
The other thing about IB is that internal assessment that Ms. Beckley was talking about. You have full control on that assessment. You decide how well or how bad you do on that. And that counts. I mean, this year, since exams were canceled, it's like 100% of your grade, but other years where it's not canceled, I think it's like 30% of your entire grade. So you determine whether like it boosts your score or it makes your score go down. So it's definitely different from AP where it's all riding on that one day where maybe you're having a bad day and you don't remember the content on that class. So it's very different if you're a bad test taker, where you can control a lot of what your score consists of.
It's something I'd like to share as a parent of a student who's in an IB class for the first time. You know, my son was always good at learning how to the procedure of something and then just regurgitating it over and over again. And then he gets into an IB math class, and all of a sudden he has to genuinely understand the mathematics behind it. And I'm a math and physics teacher formerly, so the thing I really appreciate about what this has helped my son with is to get beyond the I know how to memorize something and then repeat it and really not have learned the core of what's happening. And he actually, for the first time, he had to start going to teacher office hours and asking for help. It was very humbling, right, for a student who came from Mazik and was very strong with MST, and then he gets into a class where all of a sudden it doesn't come immediate for him. So I really appreciated the fact that it forced him into an area of struggling and productively, and also that he's genuinely really learning the mathematics concepts and not just, you know, rinse and repeat with learning new skills and 2 weeks later you don't really remember. So that's something I greatly appreciate about what we've accomplished at Atherton with even our CPM mathematics, guiding students into that type of reasoning.
All right, next question. Do you still have to be full IB with all IB classes in junior, senior years to qualify for an IB diploma? Yeah, you have to have all of these 6 groups in order to qualify. So a lot of those classes, at least three of those classes are full 2-year courses. So you would take 3 full 2-year courses plus TOK, and then 2 or 3 1-year courses in there as well. Math, all of our math SLs are also 2 years. So it just really depends which kind of track you're on. We have a lot of options there. Ms. Weber. Yep, IB benefits of the diploma versus certificate. Certificate is any student that has 1+ classes. Diploma is the full coursework plus some extras. Ms. Medley, I don't know if you want to talk briefly about the benefits of diploma versus certificate in the college realm, and if that means anything.
Yes, and I think I'm going to address the second part of that question about reasonable to pursue IB diploma and an academy. Really, what a student is trying to do, there's a couple of reasons that a student might take IB courses. One would be you're trying to earn college credit by testing well on the end of course exam, on your IB exam, and then you look at the IB credit policies that are offered at colleges and universities to see what score you need to be able to earn credit on that exam. The second reason that you would take an IB class is to demonstrate rigor on a transcript for competitive or selective college admissions. So those are really the two reasons to do that. If a student is in an academy pathway and they really like that academy and they want to pursue that academy and be a completer, what we call completer, which means they take all of the courses offered in that academy pathway, they don't necessarily have to pursue the IB diploma. What they can do is they can make their own schedule that's right for them so that they can complete that pathway while also taking as many IB courses as they can work into their schedule, or as many as will fit with their life, with what's going on, and maybe their job and maybe a sport or whatever else that they have going on. And in that case, they would be an IB certificate earner rather than a diploma. The only place where a student or where a counselor is asked in the college admissions process about the IB diploma is on the common application, which is one application that over 800 different colleges use for students to be able to apply to their school. And there is a question on the common app that asks if a student is an IB diploma student. And so we would answer that. That does not, I've never in 27 years had that make or break a student's admission, because what the colleges are looking for is the rigor on the transcript. So as long as the student has IB courses or AP coursework on that transcript, then they have demonstrated they've taken the highest level of rigor at the course in a specific class, whatever that class is that they chose to take. while earning the IB diploma is very much respected by colleges and universities because they know that the student pursued the most rigorous coursework possible in that high school setting, and that's a good thing. Again, I've never seen that make or break admission. So if it's right for the student to pursue the academy and then to mix and match some IB coursework in there, then that's what's right for that student. And what we want to do is we just want to give all the information so that the student has the very best high school experience that they can have that is right for what their future holds. And for some of our students, that does involve academy pathway plus IB. For other students, it's just pure IB diploma. So let me know if I need to follow up with that.
Lucy and Gavin, this one's for you. Is being an IB candidate compatible with being a student athlete? My freshman is concerned about balancing the two. Let's ask some student athletes that are also IB diploma candidates.
I guess I'll go first because I wouldn't say that I'm entirely a student athlete. I am on the bowling team, which is very different than being on like the soccer team or the basketball team, but it's entirely possible. I work 30 hours a week at my job and I'm on the bowling team and I'm full IB and I'm doing fine. Like I have good grades. It's entirely possible. It's all about who you are as a student and managing your time accordingly to your schedule.
Yeah, so I'm on the soccer team, and I'm glad, Lucy, you mentioned soccer as one of the sports. It's nice to have some appreciation for boys soccer. All 5 of our fans who consistently come to our games, love you, shout out. But being an IB student with that, honestly, for me, it didn't necessarily hinder my ability to perform well in the classes. However, it does sort of reinforce one of the IB characteristics, which is being balanced. You just have to be able to manage your time. And honestly, being in the IB diploma program, it's a rigorous sort of ordeal. You have to be able to manage your time. And I feel like if your only concern about being in the IB diploma program is just being able to manage that time if you are a student athlete, then you really won't have to worry about that. I mean, at least in my experience, a lot of my teachers have been extremely lenient with, and just in general understanding with any like physical or mental sort of barriers you might have to, like, I guess, performing well in the course. So just if you're worried about being an athlete, don't worry. Also get your kids to play boys soccer. It's fun. I'll be there. But yeah.
Thank you all so much. TOK for the next question. IB wants TOK to be a 2-year course, and how we've set it up at Atherton is the first year, junior year is incredibly important. It gives you all of the TOK knowledge. Really, Mr. Cooksey is teaching it right now, and he goes through a lot of the text and the material that the kids need for a senior year for their project. They have to do a project and presentation paper with the TOK information. And those questions that they do usually don't come out until September of their senior year. So what happens is senior year then turns into a little bit of the knowledge and then gives the students time for the cohort to work together to get their TOK completed, give them some study skills together as a bonding cohort to get their IAs done, their EE, gives them that social aspect of we are IB students, we are the diploma candidates, and we need this time to collaborate together. If there's a major schedule conflict senior year, we do work with that on an individual basis. Ms. Medley, I might need some help with this one. What route do most pre-med students typically take?
So there are a couple of things I'd offer with this. We have the career pathway for health sciences that I've talked with some students who've been interested in the medical field, and they're very interested in that health sciences pathway because obviously it fits that area of interest, and that is excellent to have as an option. What some students will do though is they will try to, because they want to focus more heavily on the biology and the chemistry when they get to college, they pursue IB diploma again to knock out those general education requirements that make up about 2 years of a 4-year degree at the college level, so that when they get to college, they can take a lighter load while still remaining on a 4-year graduation track, and they might be able to take 12 hours a semester instead of 15 or 18. And then if they're taking the more difficult biology and chemistry classes in the college environment, they have more time to devote to that rather than having to also study for their gen ed classes. Usually a student begins to really hone in on that area of specific interest, whether it be biology or chemistry with pre-med, when they get to college. And so the focus in high school is usually more on satisfying the gen ed requirements. Now, having said that, there are some universities that offer dual entry programs. We have a local school. U of L offers the GEMS program, which is the Guaranteed Entrance to Medical School program for students. And then there are others at Northwestern and Baylor and Rice have a combined program. And there are others around the nation that offer a combined entry program where the student applies for that in the freshman year or in the senior year of high school for their freshman year of college. What's important when you're applying for those sorts of programs is that you have demonstrated interest in science and math while you've been in high school. So that is something that they look for on the transcript. IB naturally lends itself to both of those because you're taking IB math and you're taking IB science while you're in high school. So then the other way to do that at Atherton would be to consider that pathway that offers health science specialization.
Okay. All right. The last question I see here, IB Spanish is after Spanish 3. That's correct. The other question you have, if you shoot me an email, we can probably, and myself and Ms. Medley an email, we can talk more specifically about your child individually and make a plan, because there is an IB class where your child would not have to take Algebra 2 over the summer. So we can talk specifically about that. So if you could email us, that would be great. And what I am putting in the chat, just so you have it right before we leave, is the link to Miss Medley in the counseling office put together a slide deck. So there is the slide deck. And at the end of that, there's a lot of links. There's one in particular that's an IB planning tool. And it lists all the IB diploma requirements on the right-hand side. And you can go there and check off classes and kind of align things. And feel free to email us with any questions and anything that you need. And we can either set up a meeting or answer you through email, whichever is appropriate. Real quick, looks like I have one more question. The question about IB diploma candidate and if there and a pathway and if there's any possibility for other electives, that is student specific and how we kind of set that up. So I would recommend emailing us and we can set up a time to look over your child's schedule.
And you do not reapply to the IB program each year. Once you're in, you're with us. You're our family. So thank you all. So yeah. Thank you all so much for being here. We do need to kind of wrap up so this recording will download before the next parent meeting. Again, it was my fault. I apologize for the error in the links, but I'll be sending you that audio recording. You can catch up what you missed, and you can even join us at 7 o'clock if you'd like, because we are going to tweak that. Miss Medley and Miss Beckley will need to tweak a little bit that 7 o'clock one, because I know there were several parents still wanting to get in. Thank you all so much. Take care. Thank you for being here. Be safe. Stay healthy.